Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advance Test Analyst. We are in chapter 2 and we are looking at the next topic is 2.4, that is Test Analyst Task in risk-based testing. And we'll also be understanding what is risk-based testing all about in this particular tutorial, so keep listening to this. When it comes to understanding of the risk-based testing is all about when you do a risk analysis in your particular project or product being analyzed for various risk areas, you call it as risk-based testing. Generally, risk-based testing is done in 3 stages. That is risk identification, risk assessment, risk mitigation. But we do have one more stage called as risk management, which is a throughout activity. That means end to end, it will be completely managed with all the internal activities. That's the reason we are only targeting 3 of them, which is the core responsibility of the test analyst, whereas the risk management is the core responsibility of the test manager, taking care of the entire management of the risk activities. Further, let's understand each one of these phases of risk analysis or risk-based testing in more detail. When it comes to risk identification, of course, the very first stage is about exploring, brainstorming, and trying different ways by conducting interviews, referring the previous checklist, documentation, by any such means. When you try to identify any of the risk areas or possible risk in your project or product, because we know from the foundation there are 2 types of risk. One is project, which are related to the project execution, and product, which is in the system, which may harm the end user. So identification phase basically gets involved with identifying by several ways the typical risk areas in the project and product, where test analysts should have unique knowledge about the business domain to analyze these risk areas. Because if a test analyst is not sure about what product are we talking about, what is the process is supposed to be, then of course the risk can be excused or maybe ignored by any chance. But when it comes to understanding of these areas and risk identification, it is very important for the test analyst to make sure that everything is being monitored and identified at the right point of time so that the effective measures and steps can be planned for it. So some of the sample risk is given to you here, that is accuracy issues with software functionality, usability issues, learnability issues, and there are many more. It's just an example that anything like that can be called as a risk. But I think I forgot to tell you, how do you define risk? So we know from foundation already that risk is defined as any such uncertainty which may impact your process or the end user. Thus we call them as project risk or product risk. Let's move further. We have risk assessment. Risk assessment is the second phase in the risk-based testing, where the first part is about risk identification, and once you have identified a risk, you generally try to evaluate what this risk will do, or like what kind of impact it may have, what kind of likelihood it has. Like likelihood basically depends on the frequency of use. Probability of risk to happen is called as likelihood, whereas impact is that once if this risk happens, what will be the turnaround or what will be the outcome of this risk. So risk assessment is mainly about identifying and categorizing each risk by determining their likelihood and impact associated with the risk. Now, this can be done in different ways by monitoring and giving them a different rating, like 1 to 5, or very high, high, medium, low, very low, or any kind of scale can be used to determine the impact and likelihood of the risk, which a test analyst will be doing that. But of course, not alone. We'll take an interview with the team members or maybe senior resources of the organization to have a good reputation on determining the risk details. Further, there is an example that what kind of impacts we can have once we have a particular risk related to the product or maybe project. So you can have a look on the examples here, like frequency of use of the affected feature could impact it. It could be business loss, it could be safety concerns, lack of reasonable workarounds, visibility of the feature, visibility of failure leading to a negative publicity, and potential image loss, as well as loss of customer. So one or the other way, we try to make sure that the risks are being identified in such a way that we write enough steps to mitigate it, and at the same time we also assure the users and consumers of the product that you can use it risk free. Once assessed, if you have identified the likelihood and impact, we will move to the next stage called as mitigation. The risk mitigation is a phase where you generally determine the measures or your efforts to mitigate those identified risks. Like, how will you overcome that if this risk happens? Or how will you prevent it to happen? So, generally, this could be done in two different ways. One is the prevention, and second is the cure. It's just like that, a very simple way that you detected or identified the risk as fire in your shop. That fire can probably happen, and you have a shop of garment, then of course you will assess that what are the different ways the fire can take place. As one, that somebody lighting your shop directly, so it could be natural thunderstorm, or it could be any other reason by which it can happen. So you have assessed it now and found out different ways by which it can happen. Then you try to make sure that each of these ways is prevented by keeping a security guard which scans you, detector, or maybe keeping sprinkle smoke detectors or fire alarms, those kind of things. And the other part is the cure, which is like mitigation after this event happens. That is like fire extinguishers, sand, water, or many other things like sprinklers installed. So those things will basically act as risk mitigation. And same way here, test analyst plans for the mitigation of identified risk. So let's look at some of the examples what can be associated with this. To reduce the risk by using well-designed test cases, which will cover the risk and of course try to address the areas and make sure that the features are working fine. Implement appropriate risk mitigation activities. Reevaluate the known risk at certain point of time after certain executions to make sure that the risk has been mitigated completely, or does it need something more to be done for it. Recognize new risk identified by information obtained during testing, and of course that would be the way to look at any point of time during the execution. You may identify new risk as well, so you just don't leave it then and there. So that's where the mitigation part generally takes care. So generally the test analyst has the core responsibility of identifying, assessment, and mitigation. When you further look into the mitigation details, we have prioritizing the test and adjusting testing for future test cycles. When you talk about prioritizing the test, prioritizations can happen, like you can determine the higher priority or risk associated test cases to be executed first and then the other one. In that also, what if your test cases are all associated with different risks? Then the risk which has higher severity will be executed first and then the lower severity. Then also there comes the new concept of depth first and breadth first. Now when you say depth first, it generally means that all the high uh, priority test cases will be executed first, irrespective of which requirement it belongs to. So say for example we have 5 requirements and we have written certain number of test cases for them, and each requirement has one or the other way some higher severity test cases prioritized. Then executing all the test cases of a particular risk is called as depth first, whereas breadth first means you execute all the highest prioritized test cases of different requirements and then move to the next level of priority. So breadth first generally helps you to make sure that even if you run out of time, at least the highest priority test cases of each requirement has been executed. Whereas depth one means that all the requirements, all the test cases of a particular requirement are executed first, then you move to the next requirement, though the next requirement also has a highly prioritized or highly severe risk associated with that. So some organizations follow depth first, some organizations follow breadth first. When it comes to the adjusting testing for future test cycles, it is just that it's not one time activity. It's just not that you did it once and today that's all. But no, in future it may pile up and you have a lot of things coming up, coordinating with the existing product. So of course there are new risks to be identified and risk analysis to be conducted. So it is equally important for the test analyst to keep an eye on these things to make sure that the future testing is aligned, and we look forward to find different kind of risk associated with the product. So here is an example that risk assessment is not a one-time activity performed before the start of test implementation. It is a continuous process. Each future planned test cycle should be subjected to new risk analysis to take into account such factors as, like the factors which can influence that is any new or significantly changed product risk, unstable or defect prone areas discovered during testing, risk from the fixed defects. Generally, when you fix the defect, of course, there could be probably something going wrong, and areas that have been under tested because you have low coverage and this area probably you could be missing something out there. So just make sure that you have done a peer analysis. So I think this is what we were talking about by understanding risk-based testing and the role of test analysts during risk-based testing. So this is the entire process of risk analysis, which is a role of test analyst to be performed within the organization. So that's all from this particular tutorial, team. I hope you understood about the risk-based testing. We'll be coming back with another tutorial that would be the sample questions of this chapter, and then we'll be getting started with the chapter 3. Thanks for your time, and should you have any query, feel free to comment below. I'll be there to address you. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep understanding. Thanks for watching the video, team. Happy learning.